We're delighted and honoured that you have chosen TUC Cymru Congress as your very first public engagement in your new role. Congress, please welcome our new Prif Weinidog, Brina Iorwerth.
Bore da, good morning, Congress, and thank you so much for the generous welcome here today. Diolch yn fawr iawn I chi am y cyfle I ymuno efo chi heddiw ac am y croeso. Mae'n teimlo fel 5 munud yn ôl ers I mi fod yma yn Llandudno ar ddiwrnod canlyniadau yr etholiad. Dwi'n mwynhau yr adeilad yma ac mae wir yn bleser ac yn anrhydedd cael bod yma efo chi rwan yn eich anerch chi fel Prif Weinidog. I am genuinely honoured and delighted to be here with you today as First Minister and to present my vision for a new era, hopefully, of cooperation between Welsh Government and the trade union movement. You represent the organised voice of working people across our nation. You fight for fairness, for dignity, for respect. And I want to be as clear as I can from the outset. Those values are not only shared by my government, they are embedded in the programme that we have been elected to deliver. Now, as a union member myself, I remain a member of the NUJ. I personally have taken part in collective action. And that belief in the power of trade unions was instilled in me through having not one, but 2 parents who were national union presidents. I may have stood on picket lines with some of you in the past. Plaid Cymru has stood with educators, with health and care workers, transport staff, and others to take a stand for fairness, for dignity, and for the sake of a sustainable future for our public services. And now that I am in the privileged position of being your Prif Weinidog, your First Minister, it is my duty to remember the lessons that I have learnt from that solidarity, as well as my own personal experiences and my values. Now, the trade union movement understands workers better than any policy maker. Industry and public services are your hinterland, and I'll be inviting you always to guide me through it as we foster an even stronger working relationship over the next 4 years. I was very pleased to have signed that Memorandum of Understanding on behalf of Plaid Cymru with TUC Cymru in the run-up to May's elections, establishing a clearer framework for dialogue, for collaboration and policy engagement. And my Welsh Government hopes to strengthen that agreement in coming months. I want to ensure that workers' voices are embedded in policy making from the outset. And I know that empowering you, tapping into your lived experience and giving you a seat at the table will stand Wales and its communities in good stead when those inevitable but unforeseen crises rear their heads. So as my administration and I set out our programme for government and put it into action, I want us to get out of the blocks early and to be bold, implementing those key pledges we made at the election. And as we get to work, we will turn to you, trade unionists across Wales, for help to put into practical effect those progressive ideas and proposals that we talked about during that recent campaign. Now, as First Minister, I am committed to social partnership working, and I'm looking forward to chairing my first Social Partnership Council meeting in the coming months. Through the Council and other social partnership forums at government level, we can demonstrate the value of working in partnership. It allows trade unions, governments and employers to work through complex issues and achieve common goals. It can help ensure solutions to problems don't come either at the expense of workers' rights and livelihoods or at the expense of service delivery. In fact, social partnership places the worker voice at the very beginning of the decision-making process, and it means that the worker voice helps create solutions to problems. I should also say, of course, that whilst the regular rhythm of social partnership council meetings will be important. We also want unions to continue to raise issues with Welsh Government outside those formal structures. But whether formally or in other ways, it's through the very principle of social partnership that we can help embed fair work. We've been unequivocal on this. Wales must adopt a fair work first approach. That means work that is secure, that is fairly rewarded and rooted in respect. It means workplaces where workers' voices are heard, not as an afterthought, but as a core principle of how businesses are able to prosper and grow and how public services operate. Nid rhywbeth dewisol ydy tegwch yn y gwaith. Mae'n gwbl hanfodol I sicrhau economi iach a chymdeithas gyfiawn, ac mae economi deg yn dibynnu wrth gwrs ar weithlu medrus a hyderus. Mi fyddwn ni'n datblygu system sgiliau yng Nghymru sydd yn addas i'r heriau a'r cyfleoedd sy'n blaenau ni a sy'n cyd-fynd efo anghenion gweithwyr, ynghyd ag anghenion economi y dyfodol. Mi fydd hyn hefyd yn sicrhau bod gan bawb y sgiliau sydd ei hangen arnyn nhw I ddatblygu yn ei gyrfa. A dwi yn cydnabod yn glir iawn y rôl mae cronfa ddysgu undebau Cymru yn ei chwarae I gryfhau sgiliau a hyder miloedd o weithwyr yn arbennig y rhai sy'n wynebu rhwystrau a chynyddu'r cyfleoedd sy'n ar gael iddyn nhw I gamu ymlaen. Hwn yn ymrwymiad sy'n yn bodoli ers tro byd I hybu dysgu yn y gweithle o dan arweiniad undebau ac mae o'n dangos yn glir dwi'n credu mor werthfawr ydy gweithio mewn partneriaeth gymdeithasol I gryfhau datblygiad y gweithlu a sicrhau gweithleoedd mwy cynhyrchiol a chynhwysol yng Nghymru. Congress, these remain challenging times. We recognise the enormous pressures that public service workers have faced. Years of austerity, rising demand, and the impact of global crises. The resilience shown by workers across health, education, local government, and beyond has been extraordinary, and I applaud workers for that. But resilience alone isn't enough. Earlier this month, economic forecasting group The Item Club warned that the UK is set to lose 163,000 jobs during 2026, with South Wales in particular among the areas expected to be hardest hit. And whilst there's little we can do to change the course of the global headwinds hurtling towards us from Ukraine to Iran, we can always seek to redouble efforts to protect workers' rights and create high-skilled, well-paid jobs here at home. With no let-up in food inflation and energy prices, we must do more to redress Wales's dishonourable status as a low-pay hotspot. Now, Congress, I hope that this Welsh Government's pro-worker agenda is evident from the ambitious programme we've set out for the next 4 years. With Wales among the lower earning nations and regions of the UK, I hope that our pledges to extend free school meals, introduce the most generous childcare offer anywhere in these islands, and pilot a Welsh child payment will help those households experiencing in-work poverty. But I know you will say, and rightly so, that the ambition we hold for our nation demands that we dare to imagine a future where in-work poverty is no longer a reality. Whilst our Senedd lacks the full suite of economic levers we need to act, we must do everything that we can to bring about transformational change in the short term. And we can begin by getting to work right away on establishing a new national development agency to attract good jobs, which represent fair work. And we'll take a renewed approach to public procurement that will support local firms and create well-paid jobs right across the country. Public bodies spend more than £8 billion each year on procurement, but too much of that money leaves Wales. By increasing the share of public contracts awarded to Wales-based firms from around 55% to at least 70%, we unleash the potential to support tens of thousands of new jobs and build stronger local supply chains across all sectors, from technology to food and agriculture, and sectors linked to the environment too. I know that all of us in this hall share a commitment to ensuring that that green transition is a just transition. Too many of our communities are still scarred by the injury of old industry. So this government will deliver a national programme to secure and restore disused coal tips, ensuring every tip is properly monitored, maintained and remediated, and will continue to insist that the UK government funds this work properly and in full. We'll establish a Wales-wide strategy on remediating contaminated land, mapping, prioritising and progressively restoring post-industrial land so communities are no longer exposed to derelict sites, toxic soils and polluted waterways. It's true that justice delayed is justice denied, but it's never too late to try to right the wrongs of the past. And as we enter a new age of industry, we'll strike a new renewable energy sector deal to coordinate action between government, the renewables industry, further and higher education, communities, and, yes, of course, trade unions. A seat at the table and a voice in the discussions which matter the most. That is what this new Welsh Government means for you. Now, you may have realised or recognised that Westminster politics is in a state of flux once again. But make no mistake, as issues and chaos in politics pursue, those wanting to tear up workers' rights are on the march. Of course, reforms plans to repeal the Employment Rights Act on day one in power makes no sense, no matter from what perspective you look at it. An anti-worker agenda from an anti-worker party. So my message is clear. This Welsh Government will never become complacent when it comes to workers' rights. Congress, I will end by turning to a principle that runs through everything that we are seeking to achieve. Empowerment. Empowering workers. Empowering communities. Empowering Wales. We believe that decisions about Wales should be made in Wales. But empowerment isn't just about institutions, it's about people. It's about ensuring that every worker can develop their skills, to progress in their career, and to contribute fully to society. Friends, there is so much that binds us together. We share so many priorities. We can create workplaces where respect and fairness are the norm, not the exception. We can ensure that prosperity, in all its meanings, is shared across all parts of our country. But achieving that vision will require all of us, government, unions, employers, and the wider community working together. That is the partnership that I am committed to. That is the partnership our manifesto was built on, and that is the partnership I invite you to strengthen in the years ahead. Diolch yn fawr I chi, bawb, dymuniad agorau chi ar gyfer gweddill y Gyngres. I wish you a successful last day in Congress, and I look forward to our journey together for a better Wales. Diolch yn fawr.